Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are jumping headfirst into the world of Vietnamese Boys Love dramas. BL. This is a scene that it's just blown up recently. It's gone from this, niche fandom to producing really high quality independent shows that people are watching all over the globe.
And we're going to focus on a perfect example of that whole shift. It's a 10-episode miniseries from MOI Studio called Hanoi, I Love You.
Or, as pretty much everyone calls it, Hot Brother Next Door.
Which is, it's just the perfect nickname for it.
It really is. So our mission here is kind of twofold. First, we really need to dig into the plot of this show, the character chemistry that makes it so addictive. It's about these two childhood neighbors, Hồng Phúc and Công, who meet again in Hanoi.
And second, we need to place it in the bigger picture of what's happening in Vietnam's indie production scene, because this show is such a great entry point. It shows you just how good the storytelling has gotten. It's just a fantastic illustration of the industry's maturity, I guess. It gives you this emotionally smart, complex story.
Right.
It's dealing with trauma, family, betrayal, all on a pretty limited budget.
Right. It really proves you don't need a blockbuster budget if you have a great story.
Exactly. Narrative depth and great chemistry can get you so far.
Okay, so let's unpack the setup, because it starts at, rock bottom for our main character, Hồng Phúc.
Total rock bottom.
He's the smart one, right?
Yeah.
He comes to Hanoi from Saigon. He's got this whole plan laid out, new job, new life, move in with his partner.
And that plan lasts for about, an hour? The sources all say the second he gets there, the whole thing just implodes.
He catches his partner cheating.
Yep. So in an instant, he's heartbroken, he's stranded, he's homeless,
Yeah.
and the job offer he had, that disappears too. It just puts him in a position of maximum vulnerability right from the start.
And just then, as if on cue, he literally runs into his old childhood neighbor, Công.
Fate. And this is what sets up the entire dynamic of the show. You've got this perfect contrast.
So on one hand, you have Phúc. He's kind of innocent, a little naive, and his very stable, planned-out future just went up in smoke.
And then you have Công, the hot brother next door.
He's openly gay, he's street smart, super protective, but he comes with some serious baggage.
Oh, yeah. He's secretly working for a loan shark, so he's involved in some gang-related stuff, and it all stems from this really tough past. Violent father, his mother passed away.
So that tough guy thing is kind of a front. He's really just trying to protect his younger sister, Han.
Exactly. He's not your typical gangster with a heart of gold. His reason for being in that dangerous world isn't about power. It's about providing for his family. He carries all that weight.
So Phúc, with nowhere else to go, ends up moving in with Công and Han. And those early scenes with them all living together, that's where the chemistry just starts sparking, right? I'm thinking of that masturbatory fake-out scene in episode 1. How important was that humor right at the start?
Oh, it was crucial. It told the audience right away that this show was going to balance its dark themes, Cong's job, Phúc betrayal, with real warmth and comedy.
Right.
That scene where Phúc totally misunderstands what Cong's doing, it's funny, yes, but more than that, it injects this immediate sexual tension into the room, this awkward intimacy. It tells you their bond is going to be about physical attraction just as much as it's about their shared past.
So episode 1, vulnerability, danger, and a childhood connection that's now fueled by chaos and undeniable attraction. Let's move into the slow burn part.
It's definitely a slow burn BL.
Yeah.
Episodes 2 through 5 are all about them just normalizing their life together. They stop being awkward roommates and really start to depend on each other.
And the writers are so smart about how they build on that physical side. All the sources just rave about that scene in episode 3, the plumber scene.
The plumber scene.
Yes.
Where Công takes his shirt off to fix pipes. But see, it's strategic. It's not just fan service. It uses that humor and, his physique to crank up the tension right before the plot is about to get really serious. It's like letting off a little steam before the real drama hits.
And the drama comes at Phúc from two sides, right? First, there's the relationship drama, the ex.
Yes, and we should probably clarify this because it can be a little confusing. The guy who cheated on him in Hanoi was his male partner. The woman who shows up later is a toxic ex-girlfriend from before all this.
Oh, okay.
And she shows up trying to manipulate him, cause problems. That whole conflict really blows up in episode 6, which is literally called the third party.
So wait, why bring in this emotional threat from an ex-girlfriend right when the physical threat from the gang stuff is already building? Isn't that a lot at once?
Not at all, because it forces Cong's hand. It makes him act on his feelings. Phuc is just starting to see how dangerous Kong's world is, but this new threat from the X makes Kong have to actively show his loyalty, you know?
So he starts protecting him.
He starts taking these really concrete steps to protect Phuc's well-being, his dreams for the future. You get to see this fiercely devoted partner emerge from under the high-risk gangster job. That protectiveness is a huge reason why fans love Kong so much.
Publicly dangerous, privately devoted, it's a great dynamic. It just pushes the whole story toward this massive climax.
And that brings us to episode 8. This was a really emotional and pretty widely debated turning point for viewers. It's where the intimate, the NC scene happens.
And when we say NC scene, we mean no censorship, a mature content scene that really acts as an emotional flashpoint.
Right. And what sparked all the debate was the choice to have Phuc be heavily intoxicated during it. It was complex. People were arguing online, was this him finally acting on his true feelings, something he couldn't do sober? Or did being drunk undermine the whole thing?
It's a really clever way to write it, though. It kind of gives him an excuse, a mask, to do something he was maybe too afraid to do after being so badly betrayed.
Exactly. And the payoff is immediate. Right after that scene, he finally definitively breaks up with the toxic ex-girlfriend. He sets his boundary.
A satisfying moment. But it gets overshadowed almost instantly because the physical threat from Kong's job becomes, well, life-threatening in the next episode.
The danger just skyrockets. The loan shark boss has run out of patience, and Phuc's drink gets poisoned.
Wow, okay.
So now it's the ultimate test for Kong. Phuc's life is on the line, there's a huge medical emergency, and Kong has to face the fact that his life brought this danger, this potential death, to the person he loves.
This is what forces him to change.
It's the catalyst for his entire transformation. He has to go from being this gangster who deals with trauma by taking on responsibility to being a real partner who chooses love and safety over everything else. He decides he has to get out of that life.
And Phuc changes too. He started out so naive and broken, but this forces him to become resilient, to hold his ground. So by the end, in episode 10, the crisis is over, the loan shark is dealt with, and they can finally build that stable future they both wanted.
It's a beautiful arc for both of them. Phuc gives Kong the safety he needed to heal, and Kong gives Phuc the fierce protection he needed to trust again. Their chemistry. That's the glue.
That's amazing. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We need to put Hanoi, I Love You in the context of the whole Vietnamese BL scene. How did we get here?
Well, the evolution is pretty fascinating. We really started as this small fan subculture back in the mid-90s, mostly influenced by Japanese manga, yaoi. And the early stuff was, well, it was fan-made. Low-quality short films, things sold on DVDs. It was all passion, not production value.
So what was the turning point?
The global success of Thai BL in the mid-2010s. That was the game changer. It showed everyone that there was a real mainstream market for this kind of serialized drama.
And that's when YouTube comes in.
Critically, YouTube became the main way for these small indie studios like MOI Studio to get their work out there. It lets them just completely bypass the traditional gatekeepers and reach a global audience, usually with really good English subtitles.
But the money can't be great, right? YouTube revenue for that kind of content is probably minimal.
Oh, it's tiny. It really is a labor of love.
Uh-huh.
But that financial pressure is actually what pushes the creativity. They can't afford big special effects, so they have to focus on what really matters. Great acting, tight scripts, and making the most of their locations. The story has to be the star.
And you can see the quality just surging across the board now. The acting, the production, and the themes are getting more mature.
Totally. They're tackling complex stuff that mainstream media might not touch. Family trauma, acceptance, and what's really important is they're writing these emotionally intelligent characters.
Yeah.
They're moving away from those old, tired tropes where no one talks to each other. These characters actually communicate and grow.
I want to go back to the setting. You mentioned locations. Fans and critics really praise how the show uses Hanoi. It's not just a backdrop, is it?
No, it grounds the whole series in this palpable reality. The city's mood, the architecture, that feeling of a crowded neighborhood. It all adds to the atmosphere. And the dialogue, it's often described as being really natural, almost folksy.
It sounds like real people talking.
It sounds like people who actually live in Hanoi. That authenticity is what makes it feel so different from older, more melodramatic dramas.
And I have to assume the political climate has something to do with this creative freedom.
Absolutely. Things got a lot better for creators after Vietnam lifted the ban on same-sex marriage back in 2015. Now, it's still not legally recognized, but taking that step created this environment of greater acceptance. It allowed these indie studios to really find their voice and explore these stories without constant fear of being shut down.
So when you put it all together, the success of a show like this, driven by that insane chemistry between the leads, Trin Ka Ka and Von Van Nan, it's really a perfect snapshot of the whole Vietnamese BL movement.
It's a masterclass in indie strategy. They blend humor with high-stakes drama like The Poisoning, but they always prioritize character. Phuc learning to stand up for himself, Công being this confident gay man who chooses love. That's what's engaging. That's more compelling than any special effect.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. We've talked about how these indie studios like MOI Studio are working with very, very limited budgets, yet they're creating these shows that are praised globally for their depth. So think about this. How much does massive production value truly matter? When a show like Hanoi I Love, you can use its specific local flavor and just phenomenal, genuine chemistry to become a deeply felt global success. It makes you wonder, maybe the best stories don't come from unlimited budgets. Maybe they come from constraints that force creativity to be the only tool you have. That's something to think about as you watch the next wave of indie dramas from around the world.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking,